Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our wrestling podcast. So, without further ado, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall, and today's topic, the most influential Intercontinental Champions.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hello.
And Cuz.
Hey, bud.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, most influential Intercontinental Champions.
Yeah.
Part 1. It's quite a mouthful, I would say. You know, guys, we were talking about this topic for a while. We wanted to run the history of the Intercontinental title down some people's throats, and when we started recording it, we're like, damn, this is going to take fucking
Well, not even
ever.
that. Recently, we decided as a team over the last couple of weeks that we want to keep our episodes shorter because we have been getting some feedback from people that some of the episodes are way too long. I am a fan of the general concept of you press stop when you want to stop listening, and then you start it again when you have the time. But some people don't do that, so they want shorter episodes. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. Yes, I'm in the minority, but that's just the way I feel. So
And yes, Jess is probably a little drunk right now. That's true.
No, you took way more shots than me. Thank you very much. So I am not.
And I could hold my liquor better than you can.
And what, Dave? What the fuck
laugh
is
when I
happening
say
right now? What is happening to you? That's the liquor talking clearly. So we're trying to keep all the episodes down to like 40 minutes or whatever. So if we do the history of the Intercontinental Championship, it's going to be like a 19-part episode, like somewhere around that. So, and there's a lot of other places like WWE Network and WWE.com is posting awesome videos, and they are paying tribute to the 40th anniversary of the Intercontinental Championship, which was last week. So we are just going to pay tribute to that. We're going to do the most influential Intercontinental Champions Part 1. So there will be more parts, not just on the 40th anniversary. We're going to be doing it throughout the year, 2 years, 3 years. There's many, many influential Intercontinental Champions. We're going to start out with 4 that we just thought to get the ball rolling. So that's why we're doing it in a short version.
And there's a reason why we love this title. We love the belt. We love the look. It's the come-up belt. It's the belt that people put on.
The classic
and
look from 86 to
way.
98 is the look that we like, and the current version.
Yes, and we're going to talk about how that came back as well in just a few minutes. Cuz, you have anything to add? You sack of shite.
Oh, speaking of sticking stuff down people's throats, I'm feeling very nourished by having my spicy deluxe chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, and that got me
fucking
going.
sellout.
So good.
God damn, who fucking
So
cares?
good. So good.
Jesus. I
sauce.
it's good in your fucking mind,
Good.
dude.
It's good to go with the Intercontinental title.
By the way,
match.
why don't you
Watching
go
the
buy
classic.
a brand new fucking Apple device as soon as it comes out for $1,500?
No, thank you.
Well, that's what you just did. You did it on the low ground fucking fast food level.
I had a generic spicy deluxe chicken sandwich in their chicken sauce.
My opening statement was we need to keep the episodes
no, the
down to
point
40
is you
minutes.
shouldn't even brought it up, cuz. God.
My opening statement was we need to keep the episodes down to 40 minutes, and we're talking about chicken sandwiches. I don't understand.
Christ.
I don't follow. No comprehende.
I say it's
Okay.
a combo, good combo when you were watching a great Intercontinental match.
All right, moving on. Jesus fucking Christ. All right, we're going to talk about one man. We love this man. The AEW loves this man. This man has changed the ways of wrestling, especially recently. But we're going to talk about how he changed the.
Well, I'm sorry, Dave. Cuz fucking distracted me. I wanted to lead it off with everybody knows that he is such a fucking asshole. Like fucking chicken sandwiches. Like we all fell right in the vortex right there. We're both to blame on that, Dave. It's you and I both 50%. Fell straight in. Like he dug the hole and pointed to it, and we're like, okay, and we fucking fell right in. Like,
and we fucking fell right
dumb
in.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's like, good God.
Oh, shit.
I hate him with a passion. Any hoozle. So the first Intercontinental Champion was Pat Patterson.
Cody.
I don't even care what Cuz says. The first Intercontinental Champion was Pat
Cody Rhodes.
Patterson, and he won the title from a fictional tournament in Rio de Janeiro. It never happened. He beat Ted DiBiase like a couple months before for the North American Heavyweight Championship. They created a fake title called the South American Heavyweight Championship that they actually made this title for. But because Pat Patterson progressed in this fake tournament and ended up being in the finals as the North American champion, they determined that if he would have won the tournament, not only would he win the vacant South American Championship, but he would merge it like in a sexual fashion with the North and the South titles. Whoa. And it would be called the Intercontinental Championship. So they never actually had this tournament. They just wanted Pat Patterson to have it. And so they put the title on him and they made up this lie, this fake tournament, and they said he won it. And there you go. Voila. The first ever Intercontinental Championship.
And for those of you that don't know who Pat Patterson is, by the way, just to give some nostalgia, if you've ever seen a fantastic booked match and finish at a WrestleMania or a major pay-per-view, there's a 90% chance if it was WWE that Pat Patterson booked that shit. Jess, can you give some examples? Because you're way better at that than I am.
Well, he booked a lot of the famous main event matches like Hulk and Warrior, Mania 6, Hulk and The Rock. Mm-hmm. And yes, I'm going to use Hulk as a common denominator because he does take a little bit less talented people. You know, there's really good workers in the world, and there's other workers that work a different way that like things put together. And Hulk, you know, and Warrior, obviously they have to have a match put together. Hulk and Rock, not because they're not talented in their own way. Pat Patterson, he's a great finish guy on top of, so he makes really good finishes. And any guys that need stuff put together, he comes in there and he's like, well, here, let's lay it out like this. And let's, you know, if the crowd's hot here, let's do this. If they buy that, then we could transition to this. And Pat Patterson's one of the best finish guys, but he's also one of the best guys to play off crowd emotion.
Just to take the Hogan cack out of your mouth, can you think of a different match?
No, I'm sure he did a bunch of different ones.
But we always say that. No, but like wasn't Michaels and Undertaker another one that he booked as well? At Mania?
I don't know if maybe it was. I did not hear that, but I'm sure it was. I know he was brought back many times in Mania history to do that. Would not surprise me.
Okay. Cuz, can you think of any matches that Patterson booked?
No,
okay, all right, moving on.
No, he can't. He can't. He'll be the first in line to make fun of me, but he can't talk about shit because he's got a chicken sandwich in his mouth.
God damn. You're so lucky you're so good at editing, guys. Jesus Christ. In your mouth. So fucking good at editing and talking about Cox. That's
you brought up Cox.
Good for you. Hey, he talks a lot about him.
Dave, you brought up Cox right now is what I'm saying to you.
He's comfortable. All right. I missed that. What'd you say?
Just admitted it.
Yeah, I said you brought up Cox right now, not cuz. For once, you brought up Cox and mouths.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's true. I did. That's
Jesus.
True.
Wait, time out. How am I the fucking voice of reason right now? This is wrong.
I don't even know.
A lot of
this is
shots.
the second time in our history that you've been the voice of reason.
Yeah, usually I'm the sloshy drunk. Right. No, there's been a couple times I've been the voice of reason. I'm trying to steer away from your shit.
I'm getting a little warm. Feels good in here. Sorry, guys, just to give you a recap, I just took 4 shots of Monkey 47 on our last podcast, which was like 5 minutes ago. And I'm feeling pretty
good.
Thank
God.
Right
We're at 8 minutes already. Jesus Christ.
No worries. We're good. Hey, we're going to move on. Once again, before Jess rudely interrupted me and he started talking about Cox, we were talking about the man that was very influential in the IC title world. Shut up. And we were talking about
answer your question.
How this man has greatly influenced wrestling to this moment. Not necessarily creating AEW, but pretty damn close to creating it and moving on. We're talking about the almighty Cody Rhodes. And what's interesting about Cody Rhodes and the IC champion, nostalgia, he's only a one-time champion, right? He defeated Ezekiel Jackson on August 12th of 2011 on SmackDown. It wasn't even on a pay-per-view. But he did have a reign of 234 days. That's pretty impressive in the 2010 era to have a reign that long of any title. I think everybody on this podcast would agree with that. And the one thing that Cody really fought for that makes this so important, and why I know Jess really loves this situation with Cody Rhodes, there was another shitty design that was created in '98 for the IC title that once it happened, we're like, oh, what a piece of shit that is. Because it's not because we're old, but maybe that's what it was construed as, but we love the original design from '86. That was the IC championship. If you guys want to check out that title, you can see it online. It is quite impressive, and it is the title that's being used today. Or you can just look at a recent, Raw to check out what that IC title looks like. Cody Rhodes fought like hell to get that classic design back. And he lost to the Big Show on April 1st of 2012, and it was not April Fool's. He really did lose that at WrestleMania 28. Just expand on Cody's reign, why it's important, why we all feel it's so important to get that title design back. Take it away.
Well,
man.
and really quick, and I want to give Cuz a chance to speak on this too.
No, too bad.
I think this is influential in many reasons because the Intercontinental Championship was dead and even retired for a short while. And it was just flat. There was a couple of years, maybe more than a couple of years, where it was like just literally traded back and forth. 21-day reign here, a 30-day reign here, a 17-day reign here. And like it didn't mean shit. And I hate the fact that I even have to reference that part of history. And that's one of the main reasons why I didn't want to do several different parts of the history of the Intercontinental Championship, because I despised like a 5 or 6 year span of this championship because the company shit on it. And the title means so much to me, and it should mean so much to everybody all the time. And it's known as the workers title. And Cody Rhodes, you know, he should fail. He should have failed. His father is the legendary Dusty Rhodes, who was legendary in the ring and behind the scenes. His older brother was the legendary Dustin Rhodes, who had a respectable career before he went to WWF and created this weird character called, I don't know, Gold Dust, and won multiple Intercontinental Championships. So Cody had the formula to fail. Not only is Cody now thriving, we talked about him, he's one of the founders of AEW, but he left the company and said, fuck you, I can make it on my own. But before he did, he wanted to run with the Intercontinental Championship, and he had cool gimmicks, like when he broke his nose, he had the face mask, he had the mustache gimmick, where he fucking had his mustache, and he kept doing like shit to point to the mustache, which is really genius. And then Stardust. They fed him shit, literally a pile of shit with corn in it. And they're like, fucking like this. And he's like, fine, I'll figure out a way. And he ran down to the ring, super energetic, and jumped on the railing.
He made it work, man.
But yeah, and he tried as hard as he could to make Stardust work. And they didn't see anything else for Cody, but Cody knew that he was more talented. I go back to his one Intercontinental Championship reign. And they put it on him for 234 days, like Dave said. And he liked it. This is his favorite title. He's done many interviews where he's like, the IC title is my favorite belt. The classic look from 86 to 98 is my favorite look. And he fought to bring that back. So I think that he is relevant to the legacy of the Intercontinental Championship just because of that. Because he fought so hard and he wanted to be a good worker with that title. And they trusted him for 234 days. And he brought back the classic look. I love it. This is why I wanted this in our first, part one of the influential Intercontinental Champions. I think Cody Rhodes' reign means a lot because it kind of brought it back from its bullshit retirement to its bullshit irrelevance to, I want to make this title relevant again.
Cuz, do you agree with that? He's very important to that nostalgia, especially when bringing it back. And he was, even though only a one-time IC champion, he influenced it that much.
Well, I was going to say, this is actually, out of all the people that we're talking about tonight, this is the one guy, this is where I actually kind of had fallen out of WWE for a while. So I actually didn't get to watch WWE as, live while he was Intercontinental Champion. The only thing I do remember, because I still kept up
what were you
on
doing
it as far as websites. I just fell out of it. I fell out of it like in 2009.
Like falling out of wrestling in general?
No, I would basically use YouTube during that period of time. I'd go back and watch old, WWE stuff, or I would go back and watch, I'd start watching a lot more Ring of Honor. And like Briscoe Brothers, I would just watch them a lot of their promos. I love their promos, so I'd start, getting sucked into that vortex there. But the only thing I remember,
not a bad vortex. Pretty good vortex, actually.
Yeah, some Japan stuff too. But but that's the thing I did remember seeing though, because I would still keep up on WWE as far as going on the websites. And the thing I remembered, the thing I loved hearing about was him bringing back that title. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see his reign or any of his matches. From that reign, I knew about the mask when he, the accident when he got injured.
Yeah, and he kept the shield on.
And he wore the mask for a little bit. Yeah, like the Phantom, and then
he did a lot of good stuff with shitty gimmicks. It was him.
All right, moving on. Let's go on to our next topic of influential IC title holders. We're gonna move on to a man that we've talked about quite a bit. All the talent in the world, third generation wrestler, part of some of the greatest factions. Likes to call people stupid lately. His name is Randy Orton, who's a one-time champion. Like, why are they always one-time champions? Yeah.
You're
fine.
I was doing the research. I'm like, he fucking really only did win it one time. And I would go on, read his accolades, but it is kind of stunning, actually.
Yeah, he defeated RVD on the 14th of December, 2003 at Armageddon, and Foley was the guest referee. Look it up. Good match.
Which sets it up.
He had a reign
sets up their feud.
Yeah, had a reign of 210 days. He used this title when he was a part of Evolution and had to find his career. I don't know if anybody agrees with this. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't give a fuck. I think that Evolution is the closest thing to a top horseman foursome for a faction. It's the closest thing to it. I thought it was amazing.
Like,
I loved it.
Faction.
Thought it was great. Ric Flair was a part of it, obviously, which was awesome too. But I think that Evolution is one of the most underrated factions out there, and it's still up there on the radar, but it's not where it needs to be. That's just my opinion. You got
2 stars out of it. So,
yeah,
or 2 new stars, I should say.
It actually, and that's what we have here in the notes. I mean, Jess and I talked about this earlier. Jess is great when it comes to IC memory and note taking, and it defined Orton's career having an IC title and a part of Evolution. It's just fantastic. He had a great feud with Mick Foley on that title, and he lost to Edge at 7/11, so July 11th, 2004 at Vengeance. So why is a man who wasn't even really a, world champion at that time, that we know some of us have said is underachieved in his career, probably maybe capable of so much more, 3rd generation wrestler, but only a one-time IC champion. Why is he on this list, Jess?
Because I feel that it's important that he had this title because they actually used it past a time where they kind of gave up on the IC title. Around 2003, 2004, the IC title started losing its steam. They were trading it back and forth in like 2000, 2001, 2002. They weren't using it anymore as putting it on the best worker, even though good workers did hold it. There was really no like long definitive reigns. But when they put it on Orton, they actually used it to promote a young wrestler, and it worked. And they were feeling it out. They were feeling out the temperature to see if he could be a star and towards top of the card. And they used the IC title correctly. I know, it's crazy. In 2003, it's one of the only times after like the classic period, like after I would say 98, 99, that they actually used the IC belt to push a star. Because, in 99, it was filled with people like, Val Venus and the Godfather and, all these other, and they were throwing it back with Jericho and Benoit and Angle. And those are all great workers, but they were just hot potatoing the title between those guys.
It was used as that stepping stone to win the world title later as the youngest champion ever, if I'm correct, right?
Yep.
So, and that's what the IC title was supposed to be intended for all the time. When Savage won it, it was
not all the time. You're right. I'm not disagreeing.
Well, that was the original intention before.
Most of the time, they could use that as a stepping stone. Other times, they put it on a good worker. But Randy Orton was one of those guys that they used to put up to the world title.
Yeah, and it worked out great. Can't wait till Samoa Joe does the same thing. Just kidding. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but
you have had a lot of shots. Title. You really have.
Woo! He's gonna be a world champion someday. God damn it! Cuz anything to add, or are you just gonna say I wasn't watching it that time?
No, actually, I was watching it a lot at that time. But no, the match you got to talk about is at least my favorite match from that was that reign is the Backlash 2004.
Fully
Cactus Jack, Randy Orton. Yeah, I know we mentioned, but I'm just saying like
Jesus Christ.
Of that reign. That's probably my favorite match.
It's exhausting.
Okay then. All right.
It's leading you into the thumbtacks.
I think to Cuz's point and to Jess's point on that, everybody's got to go through a Mick Foley boot camp someday in order to move on to a level of nostalgia. Even though they're not meant for it, as far as their career is concerned to run. When you do a match like that, you're kind of like ordained after that, and it's necessary. It sucks, but it's necessary even to a 3rd generation clean wrestler like Randy Orton, who would never usually partake in something like that otherwise. So
yeah,
he's like,
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. That one stands out a lot in my mind when I think back on his.
Yeah, I think that was really definitive.
He was kind of knighted at that point, right, Cuz?
Fucking great match. What's up?
He was knighted at that point.
Yeah,
that was
shoulders.
Those were great matches for sure.
Yeah. Moving on, we're making some good time here. We're catching up. We're going to talk about a 2-time champion. He's not really known for this championship, but god dang it, he should be, because he's won quite a few world titles along the way. I mean, he's not known for it. People kind of forget about it, but you're right, Jess. This is the true stepping stone tester version. Started out as a fantastic tag team wrestler, tag team champion with the Anvil as part of the Hart Foundation. We're talking about Bret Hart, ladies and gentlemen. He's a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. He defeated Mr. Perfect on August 26th of 91 at SummerSlam.
Classic match. Go on.
God, so good.
Go on.
Ooh, delicious. Lost to the Mountie on January 17th of 92 in a contract dispute.
Only because he was renegotiating his contract and he was kind of holding out a little bit, and he wouldn't have lost it here, but he did.
Yeah. So, and then he moved on to defeat Rowdy Piper on WrestleMania 8 at
Another classic.
on April 5th of 92. Oh my gosh, with the bell.
Go on.
and
No,
everything,
keep going
and Rowdy's
forward
gonna hit
because
him
I
with
want
it.
to. I'm going to
so
bury
good.
your statement at the beginning.
Why?
Keep going.
Why
Keep
are you
going.
So angry at me?
Two classics we have racked up.
So,
Go on.
and
go
he
on.
lost to Davey Boy Smith on August 29th, 92.
Unbelievable intestinal fortitude on the part of both participants. Sunset flip.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this bout and new Intercontinental Champion, the British Bulldog.
I can't believe it. One of the greatest wrestling matches of all time has just taken place here at SummerSlam. The new
In the what? In the what?
In the,
In the what?
event At SummerSlam.
What was it? What position was that match? That's weird.
I said it was the fucking main event. What do you want from me?
okay.
Showstopper.
He's not known
Yeah.
for the IC title. But go on. Keep going. Keep going.
And we all fucking
going.
know who
No,
won
keep
that
going,
match,
keep
right,
going.
Jess?
Keep
We
us-
all
keep
know
going.
what the fuck happened there, right? Okay. And he had a 290-day total reign under those two times.
And then 2 months later, what did he win? I don't remember what championship he won. Fuck.
I know what he fucking won. Jess.
I don't
God damn.
remember. Refresh my memory. What did he win 2 months later?
He won the world title.
Oh,
What I'm trying to
okay.
tell you is people
so
don't
Bret
realize
wasn't
that.
remembered for the IC title, but yet he had 3 classic matches. I mean,
Why are you so
detrimentally
fucking
classic
angry?
matches.
He
for the
had
IC
great
title.
matches, Jess. What I'm trying to tell you is that the average fan forgets about
No, they
it. That's why
don't.
we're having
They
this
don't.
fucking
Just you do.
podcast.
No.
You do.
Whoa.
Brett
What are you talking
is
about?
in my argument for the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time because
People forget about.
he beat Mr. Perfect in a classic. He beat Roddy Piper in a match that had no business being any good because you have Piper in there. And I'm not trying to shit on Piper, but he was getting older at this point. But everybody knows Piper had hip replacement later in his career, not like 2 years later, if that even. Like, so Brett carried him to a great match at WrestleMania 8. Piper's never been known for classics. Am I correct?
And
in
who
that?
carried the match at SummerSlam?
Can I be correct in that for a
according to
minute?
all stories?
Even though-
about?
Even though, when he fought Valentine for the U.S. title, they had a classic match because they beat each other with chains and they bled everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's not a classic match, but as far as like a classic, wrestling match, like
Intercontinental match.
yeah, Brett carried him to an amazing match at WrestleMania 8. And then Brett lost in probably the greatest SummerSlam match ever against Bulldog in the main event, the first and only
That
time
he carried,
and
right?
only time that the Intercontinental Championship has been in the main event of a SummerSlam or a major pay-per-view for that matter. I could be wrong on that.
That's because it was in England. Whatever.
What are you talking about?
You know why?
What? No, say it.
You know
No,
why.
I don't. Say it.
Where were they?
In England. So
Exactly.
it was still the main event. Did it not deliver?
Yeah. I didn't say it
That's
didn't
what
deliver.
I'm saying.
It was
He had to
WrestleMania
carry it.
status.
I'm saying because
He had to
because
carry
the
it
British
to a
Bulldog
point
is
where it was
fucking
main event
British.
status.
The fucking IC title was in the main event, Jess.
He had to carry it to
We're
the
great.
point
I'm glad
where
it was a
main
great
event
match.
status. They knew beforehand. They didn't change it the day of like they do now.
Yes,
They
yes,
knew
yes.
going
Hey, Jess,
into the match.
if that shit was in Detroit, what would be the main event?
They knew going into the match that was going to be the
You're
main
not gonna
event.
answer that question
and
'cause
both
you know I'm
guys
right.
had to prep for it. So it's not like now where they
I'm not
decide
saying
the
I'm not
night
saying it
of
wasn't
and you have to
great. I'm
prepare.
saying saying because of where it was. That's the only reason why it was there. But if you don't want to contest that, that's fine. You don't want to answer the question.
What
That's
is your
fine.
question?
Because it
I
wasn't
said
out
that
in
the
America. Is
goddamn
that
thing
why?
was held in
Because it
Detroit. What
main
would be the main
status?
event?
Well, I don't disagree with Dave on that. I think that if it was actually, I think the original location for it, if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard this from Bruce's podcast, is that the original location was going to be Washington D.C. for the main event of
shit.
'92. I'm not even kidding you. And so I don't think that Brett and Davey would have been main event there. But do you really want a Warrior versus Savage match to end your pay per view in a count out? Is that what you want? No. So it ended up going to London. It ended up being the main event. And yes, you're
And it
right,
was
Dave.
fucking
Because it was
fantastic.
in London,
Yeah.
it was the main event because of Bulldog. You're right. You're absolutely right. But the fact is that they had to make a main event match, and they did. They made a classic that people still talk about to this day. So it's not just it's a main event that they made it out of the show alive. They almost died, but
So
they didn't. It's a classic
do you
that people
believe
still
the stories,
talk about
Jess?
today. 2019.
Do you believe this? Do you believe the stories on the back end?
Huh?
Do you believe the stories on the back end about Davey?
It doesn't
not
matter.
remembering
It doesn't
anything?
matter. Why does that matter? And even if it does matter,
I'm asking the question.
I'm
If you do, I'm
praising
just
Bret
asking.
Hart, which means like that Bret Hart is, in my opinion, the greatest IC champion ever.
Well, it would just prove your point, Jess. That's why I'm asking the question. I want to bring it up. The rumors are said by some that Davey was so coked out and just
He wasn't
hungover and all
coked
this.
out. He was hungover. Let's be fair.
Well, I'm just reading what
I don't
read
think you
and
like English
regurgitating
people.
it
Is what I'm
back.
gathering from this shit. You piece of shit.
Dude, I put Davey Boy in our podcast last week because I told you, even though I'm not a big fan, he had big fan base. And he had star
Since we're
power.
formulating
He deserves to be
opinions,
in the
can I
conversation.
formulate an opinion real quick?
I'm just, I'm just asking the question, Jess. Do you believe that? Because if it does, it just proves your point that Bret Hart carried that match entirely. It was entirely him because, according to all the rumors and the stuff that Bret talked about, Davey forgot the entire match.
If you're formulating an opinion, can I make one? Can I make an opinion?
I was asking you a question, not formulating an opinion.
I think
I'm asking
that
you,
you are mad that I won the King of the Ring second round tournament. And I think that you're pissed off. And anything I say, you're going to go against. Am I correct? Am I not? Am I right?
No, I'm
trying to
asking
suck
you.
you down.
Okay.
He wants to go down his vortex.
Why can't you just answer the question? Do you believe the rumors?
Just trying
I'm
to
going
bring it
down
down.
Dave's vortex. Fucking Dave, you created a vortex, you motherfucker. You son of a bitch.
Too many vortex colliding.
God damn it.
Universe is gonna
It's
explode.
not even close to a goddamn chicken sandwich vortex.
Oh, there
No,
we go.
in all
Vortexes now.
seriousness, whether it happened or not, I did hear that, and Brett says that. But Brett says a lot of shit
Sure.
that favors Brett in every shoot interview.
I that's why I'm asking the
excellence of
question because
execution.
Even if he did, Davey Boy still had to show up. Am I right? And he still had to carry his half of the match. I do not.
he still
I do
had to
not
take the
doubt
bump,
for
still
a
do the
second
moves. Yeah,
that Brett called it. I do not doubt that for a second. But Davey Boy had to show up. Give the motherfucker some credit.
Yes.
And he's
Okay,
dead,
okay.
for God's sake.
Whoa.
it's true. I mean, I wasn't trying to go there,
Yeah,
but
Dave, you went there. You did.
I was just asking the question.
But they did led into the grave of Davey Boy. Go on.
Hey, if
okay, because if we didn't, people go, "Your podcast is fucking soft."
They said-
Krager's
I'm sure they say that
live a
now.
bulldog, bud.
So anyway,
I'm
in all
bringing the
serious
bullshit
note,
out. What the fuck do you want?
like to me, Brett is one, and people can fight me. That's fine because I think our next entrant could prove me wrong, and I will not disagree. But I think me personally, I think Brett is the greatest IC champion, even though this is only part one. I think he is. I think he had 3 classic matches, Mr. Perfect, Roddy Piper. And Brett's total championship reign was 290 days total. I don't think he would have lost to the Mountie if he didn't have a contract dispute. He would have held it for a full year, which would have made his reign even greater. Not beating the honkies, but I mean, it would have made it greater. So I think Brett, this title did exactly what it had to do, and Brett embraced it. Brett loved the IC title, and it made him a contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it's the only time it ever was the main event at a major pay-per-view, and Brett and Bulldog both, to settle the argument, carried it. It was a main event. They lived up to that hype. It was truly the main event. It was a fucking great match. You could say maybe Bulldog did forget everything. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Brett's job
At the
in
end of
that
the day,
match,
Brett is still remembered as the Intercontinental Champion.
correct.
Intercontinental
And Brett's job in that match was to put Davey over, which is the motion of a professional that is in this business that knows that, you know what, it's the crowd reaction. I got to put this guy over. Whether I'm more talented than him or not is irrelevant. I have to make this guy over. That's the guy that Vince wants. So I got to put him over. And Brett 100% succeeded. No matter what happened after with Davey and all that stuff, and it was a short reign, all that stuff. Brett proved behind the stage that he was the man, that he was able to put other people over, which is the whole art form of pro wrestling, right? And which is what any promoter wants to see, or any Vince.
That's what the best talent can do, Jess, by the way.
Correct.
The talent that's less much, they can't do that without a Pat Patterson to finish it or to work it step by step.
Correct.
Brett can do that on his own.
Yes.
And that is an epitome of a great talent.
Correct.
No one can
all
deny
joking
Brett's
aside,
talent.
correct. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the best, and I'm glad you guys agree.
Was
He's the best
IC
Intercontinental champion ever.
IC champion.
You all 3 you agree? Okay, all right, here we go.
Okay.
all right.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
for
glad
me,
that
it's a
all 3 of you
toss-up
agree.
between him and
Because
someone
that's it. We're going. All 3 of you agree.
What?
We'll get there. We'll get there another day.
Yeah,
Let's
I
move
don't
on to
wanna
our
say-
last contestant of the IC title. Most influential. This person happens to be a 4-time champion. A 4-time champion doesn't sound like much, but in this era, oh my God, it was incredible to be a 4-time, any kind of champion, really. You're kind of approaching the Hogan status. I know it's not a world title, but you're approaching that status of like, wow, this person's a 4-time champion of this belt back in, Jesus, in the early 90s. Holy crap, right? We're talking about Razor Ramon.
Hey, yo.
You know, hey, yo. He defeated Rick Martel on September 27th of 93 in a tournament final on
Well,
Raw.
let me interrupt you for a second. I put a tournament final because they actually had a battle royal because Shawn was stripped of the title. And so they had a battle, big shock, right?
Oh, that's right.
Big shock.
Yeah.
And,
that's right.
so...
And that leads to a fantastic ladder match.
Well, no,
at
true,
WrestleMania 10
but
with
they
Shawn.
had a battle...
Jeez.
Jesus Christ, Dave, you motherfucker.
I'm jumping in.
No, he's right for
What?
doing that. I will never fault Dave for doing that because he's got to keep us fucking on track. But
Because you guys got to shut the fuck up.
it's not a
and let me get
tournament
through this.
final. It was a battle royal.
Okay, well, it's your fucking notes, bitch. So
I
fucking deal
know,
with it and
but I
correct it and
meant
move
for
on.
myself to
You don't have to talk
interfere.
about it for 20 minutes.
I meant for myself
Jesus.
to interfere. Cuz gets a...
Are you fucking done? You corrected it, right? It was a battle royal. Can we move
No,
on?
because I'm not done. If you would
my
let me
God.
finish, then I'll be done. And I will tell you when I am done. How about that? Why don't we do that? No, why don't we do that? Why don't you listen to me?
Why don't we just run this thing for 2 hours? Why don't we just do that?
It's only 32 minutes, so we're not even close to that. So do you want to try for a different time, or do you want to still be an asshole?
I'm pretty sure I want to be an asshole, but I'll let you.
Well, I
fucking
know
go
you
on
want to
with
be an
your
asshole.
bullshit. Go
That's fucking a given, obviously. I know that. And
right,
for
go
the
ahead, go
record, and I'm going to go ahead and waste time on this too. Every time I've listened on
know
past
you are.
episodes, every time we argue, Cuz giggles like a little fucking girl. It's the funniest
do.
fucking
It's
thing
fucking
I've
funny.
ever heard. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, I laugh in my car when I'm listening. Dave and I will fight, and Cuz will be like, like it's a fucking, like an actual giggle, like an actual, like to where his dick is hard, and there's no question his dick is hard.
Oh,
It's
no.
hard.
I hear your track. I listen to your track on solo, and I hear...
Because I'm laughing.
Yeah, I hear you fucking snorting.
Because
in
I'm
the back.
fucking with Dave. Yeah, I know. I know.
Fucking-
He lost to Diesel on April 13th of 94 on Superstars of Wrestling. Then he defeated Diesel August 29th of 94 at SummerSlam. Lost to Jeff Jarrett at July
Which
22nd
began
of 95
what?
at the Royal Rumble.
Why am I hosting this episode for you? It began his second reign when he beat Diesel, correct? Because he won the champion 4 times. I made the notes. What are you getting mad at me for?
I'm not mad, bro. I'm just making sure that I don't
You're
interrupt
making
you
me
anymore.
feel if I
Just making
interrupt,
sure.
you're going to get all mad.
I'm not mad, bro. I'm just muting my mic so I don't interrupt what you're fucking
Oh my
saying.
God. You're so ridiculous.
So he lost to Jeff Jarrett, right? Ending that, what, second title run or third? You want to interrupt me on that just to give me some
No,
shit?
he beat Diesel to begin his second run, which is in.
Yep, and then he lost to Jeff, which ended his second run at Royal
Right,
Rumble,
correct.
right? He defeated Jeff Jarrett.
Yes.
He was a first 3-time champion. It's in the notes. Thank you for that. On May 19th of 95 at a house show in Canada.
That's where it gets weird.
He lost to Jarrett.
That's where it gets weird. Like they traded it back and
lost to
forth,
Jarrett
and
too.
as Bruce would say, we traded championship wins back and forth in house shows to get people to want to go to house shows. But I mean, look, I recognize Razor as 4-time champion, right? I think everybody does, and I think he deserves it. Truth be told, like when we talk about his reign in the end of this, like he really deserves it. But at the same, like Dave's covering right now, like he lost in 5/19 of 95 in a house show in Canada, and then he won it. He won it. Excuse me. And then he lost it to Jarrett again like 2 days later. Like they were just doing that in house shows that they were doing a tour of Canada. They wanted to show title change so people would come out and, buy tickets to their house shows. Like I'm not a big fan of adding title reigns like this, but I understand why they did it. And I know Bruce says again in his podcast, like we did it so you'd come out and watch the live shows. We all know that when wrestling's hot and we go out to watch live shows, we watch it just to say we saw so-and-so live, right? I mean, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't necessarily expect a title change in my hometown. If it happens, I guess, like, I'll talk about it. But how many people are going to talk about that? Especially in 1995, I'm sure they were getting like 2,000 people in a live show. So 2,000 people got to say like, oh, I saw Razor beat Jarrett. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, am I wrong in that? Like, I just feel like that's like, you're trying to use the changing of a title, an important title, to like spike your house show, right? I mean, how many more people in a house show is that going to get? I mean, I'm being honest. Do you guys have an opinion on that? I have no idea. I just think it's silly.
I think it doesn't matter if people don't even care about the title anymore. Like, who cares?
So it devalues it, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of that. Like, when you change a title on pay-per-view like that, you're building a storyline. You obviously build your pay-per-views, right? So the title change should happen there. Like, I understand. I get the thought concept behind changing championship, because the same thing around the same time was Money Incorporated and Steiner's. They were trading it back and forth in house shows, right? I think the Steiners won their first ever WWF tag titles in a house show against Money Inc. I mean, the Steiners, their first ever WWF tag team championships were won in a house show. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe it's stupid, but they were so desperate at the time in 93, 94 to get house show attendance that they did that. And I'm not discounting Razor Ramon. I'm just saying, like, I love him for totally different reasons and think his championship run is valuable for just a different reason. But like, just to change it. I'm glad he's 4-time champion. He was the first 4-time champion, but I don't know. I think it's kind of silly to do that. Do you agree?
I think the concept of it is
in your rambling, you found your way back to it. Man.
Oh my God.
So no, I'm telling you, I'm defending you on this. If you want to hear it.
Well, you called it rambling. That's not really defending me, to be quite honest.
Well, you rambled your way into it. You found like maybe it was to get more house shows. That's exactly the issue.
Well, that was my original point, in my opinion. So you're right.
Yeah. So I'm agreeing with you.
It wasn't rambling. It was a good point. Is what you're saying.
So yeah. The rambling.
No, it was a good point.
It
wasn't rambling.
Great.
So go on.
So here you go. So what happens is when they struggle, and they were struggling tremendously here, even to the point where Cuz says the title wasn't even relevant anyway. They go back to what they know. You're almost going back to a territory experience where you didn't know when that title was going to change, so you had to go see the show to see what was going to happen. WWE changed the whole mantra. You couldn't see a title change unless it was on a pay-per-view, unless it was on national television. And they're like, God, this is so bad that we have to sell tickets just to stay relevant, just to stay in business. So all of a sudden they're like, yeah, did you hear about the title change that happened on a house show? You're like, what? And then they were hoping, this is my opinion, they're hoping that, they're coming to my town next week. I better go buy a fucking ticket. That's all it is.
That was the thought process.
I mean, am I wrong? Yeah, that's really what it was. I mean, I don't think it's
the
rocket
concept
science.
of it is cool because it's like, anything could happen. It makes it seem more real that, it's just not on TV that they lost the title. But, going back to if the title's not relevant or if they're switching it around back and forth, it does devalue it. And then it's like, well, I don't care that.
I mean, it shows. It just shows the end of the boom period of wrestling. Before we get into the amazingness of the NWO, which made the WWE even struggle more. Yeah, talk about a spiral, right? So it gets into that situation where like, fuck, what do we do? But I'll tell you, you can always argue the NWO and WCW's ramp up made WWE that much better, which it did. The ratings prove that over those 83 weeks, right? The ratings they were getting were just fucking stupid. So. But it made them better. But there was something at that time where wrestling was so down and nobody cared. They're like, how do we get a shot back in the arm in this industry? Let's trade titles and house shows. That's how desperate it got. Right?
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. So out of these four, who's your top guy? Jess doesn't have to answer because he already blew his wad 10 minutes ago on Bret Hart. So. Cuz who's your top four?
You didn't even finish Ramon.
Of this.
So
you want to hear the rest of your fucking notes?
When you go back and listen, I never interrupted you in the beginning of the Ramon. You're going to be so fucking silly. Yeah, you're going to be so silly when you listen to it because I never interrupted you and you got all mad at me.
At this point, I don't even.
I know because you had a lot of shots before, but I'm just saying that like if you go back and listen to the beginning of this, I never interrupted you. I was just trying to interrupt you for the tournament thing, and you caused a fight with me. And then now you're trying to end the fight. You're in the episode with not even finishing Razor Ramon. I swear to God, Dave, you are all over the place. I will never win a bet against you again. I do not ever want you drunk going into this. No, more than ever, I'm being dead serious. More than ever, like I need Dave's guidance. So, like he's the host. He's the fucking best. Like I swear to God, like I'm not even kidding you right now. Like I never realized when Dave is drunk and off task, his shit goes off rails. Like I fucking appreciate Dave more than Dave. He is. I appreciate him more than anybody can say right now. I'm not even kidding you right now.
Yep.
Like Dave is like the best host. I'm not shitting you at all. I'm serious. Like I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Like he keeps us going. Like every time I hear our podcast, I'm like, thank God Dave kept going past that because Cousin and I were just being fucking retarded.
As always, you can reach us via Instagram
There
at
you go.
O.W.P. 2019, SoundCloud at Our Wrestling Podcast,
He made the
YouTube at
executive
Our
decision.
Wrestling Channel, or do the easy thing and download WrestlePost at no charge to you and join us along with other great podcasts of the day. This is Dave.
When we
Jess,
hit
and
stop
Cuz,
right
the
now, Dave's going to be
O.W.P.
so mad. I just want everybody to know.
Signing
I may
off.
not survive.
Have a good
I love
one.
you guys. Please, God.